Welcome to Vacuum Wars, and to our review of the Roborock Qrevo CurvX, the latest flagship robot vacuum from Roborock. It's packed with all the latest features and specs from one of the top robot vacuum manufacturers. We bought one for ourselves and have been testing it in various ways over the past few weeks, and in some ways I found it to be very impressive, but in other ways I thought it was kind of disappointing. In this video, I'll go over the pros and cons of the CurvX and in the end reveal if this top-of-the-line robot even made the Vacuum Wars Top 20 Robot Vacuum list. So links in the description, and let's get started. First, the basics. The Roborock Qrevo CurvX is a robot vacuum mop combo that has an auto-empty bin that washes and dries its mop pads. The CurvX is the successor to the Curv, released last year, both of which are known for the interesting shape of their multifunctional dock, which Roborock designed to be more aesthetically appealing. Starting off with the pros, and let's begin with the hardware on the robot itself. The CurvX has Roborock's Duo Divide main brush, which channels hair as it vacuums to the center of the brush to prevent tangling, and it uses that new brush in combination with its new-ish anti-tangle side brush, which also automatically extends for better corner coverage, all of which worked well in our tests. For example, in our 7-inch hair tangle test, the CurvX had 0% of the hair tangled, where the new average is 28% tangled. And in general, its two brushes worked very well together to pick up debris from the surfaces of both hard floors and carpets, as most Roborocks we test do very effectively. But one especially impressive feat with the CurvX was its carpet deep cleaning, where it picked up 92% of the deeply embedded sand in a timed test on medium carpet, which is tied for third place overall out of over 150 robot vacuums tested. So in terms of its basic vacuuming and sweeping ability, it was a great product. Another hardware-related pro is the new RetractSense navigation system, which is essentially a retractable top-mounted LiDAR. The idea is that you can get all the benefits of a top-mounted LiDAR, which is the best sensor type for mapping and navigation in my opinion, but in this case the LiDAR turret will retract when the robot senses low furniture in order to get under that furniture, and it's particularly slim when the LiDAR turret is retracted at 3.14 inches, which is about an inch shorter than average, and it's tied for the lowest height we've seen on a robot vacuum with LiDAR navigation, internal or otherwise. In terms of navigation performance, it was slightly above average with navigation efficiency and coverage in the various tests that we did, where we run the robot on a fixed floor plan on various power settings. In those tests, it was also above average with its battery life and battery efficiency, which combined with its navigation scores gave it an estimated square foot per charge of 1,445, which is above the average amount of about 1,100 square feet per charge. Another pro was its obstacle avoidance system. It uses Roborock's reactive AI obstacle recognition, with structured light and an RGB camera to recognize and avoid objects that its LiDAR sensor and bump sensors can't detect. And in our obstacle avoidance tests, it scored a 20 out of a possible 24, which is well above the average of 17, and it outperformed the previous Qrevo Curv as well, so this is one area that I'm really glad to see Roborock improving on. Another pro is the so-called AdaptiLift chassis, where its front wheel will lift up automatically to cross high thresholds or similar obstacles up to 30 millimeters for a single tier or 40 millimeters for multi-tier. It did do well with this in our tests too, and apparently it can also adjust individual sections of the robot, front, rear, left, or right, based on the terrain. So that's interesting, though we did not test that aspect of it. Another pro was its multifunctional dock. Besides its distinctive curved shape, it's made to be a place where, when the robot returns to its dock to charge, it will automatically empty the contents of its internal dustbin into the disposable bag in the base, but it also has 176-degree hot water mop pad washing, 113-degree warm air drying, intelligent dirt detection, which is a sensor that can tell if the mop water is dirty and and it can initiate more mop pad cleanings if needed. It also has hot water dock self-cleaning, auto tank refilling, and a detachable dock base for manual deep cleaning if needed. So it's got all the things in terms of mop pad management. All those features can be adjusted in the app, and the app itself is one of the best out there in terms of app ratings and usability. The app has the new Smart Plan 2.0, which learns your cleaning habits and adapts to different room types and floor surfaces. It has virtual barriers, clean along floor direction, which I like, and lots of control over the systems of the robot and scheduling. It also has pet-specific features like real-time video calls. The robot can search for your pets when you're not at home. It can also recognize them automatically and move aside to prevent scaring them. The final pro I'll mention is customer service. We recently conducted a test of popular robot vacuum brands' customer service, and Roborock scored the highest out of all of them. Moving on to the cons, and I should start with the thing that makes it hard for me to recommend this robot, the mopping ability. Don't get me wrong, it has good mopping features. For example, it uses 2 spinning mop pads that exert downward pressure on stains. These mop pads lift up automatically when the robot senses carpets to keep carpets dry, which is a crucially important feature. The Curv even has an automatically extending mop pad, which helps with coverage right up to the edges of walls, and all of that worked well in our tests, but there was a big problem with its mopping, which was its water usage. The Roborock Qrevo CurvX, just like the previous Curv model, uses way too much water when mopping. It has an adjustable water level setting in the app, but even on its lowest water setting, it's still putting out 2.33 grams per 4x4 area of water in our tests, which is more than double the average amount. And if you go up to its high water setting, not even its max setting, but just its high setting, it's putting out almost 4 grams. This means that even on its lowest setting, if you have dark floors, it's going to leave significant streaks behind. I recently developed a new way to show this using a dark surface, and you can see with your own eyes the CurvX water usage was severe, and you can also see here when it dries, it shows streaks. I hope this is something that Roborock can fix with a software update, and if they do, I'll mention it in the pinned comment of this video, but I really think they should try. The other cons were minor. For example, its airflow and suction were a touch below average in our tests, and its internal dust bin was extremely small, well below average. So I think you would need to do multiple runs per week to stay ahead of pet hair if you have pets. When you add up all the scores, it was a pretty disappointing showing for Roborock and their new flagship. Not only did it not end up making the Vacuum Wars Top 20 Robot Vacuum list at all, which is almost unheard of for a new flagship from Roborock, it didn't even outrank its predecessor, the Curv, which is currently ranking 21st. If Roborock can fix the water issue, it might be worth taking a second look, and it would probably bump it up into the top 20 list, but as of right now, I would say that Roborock is kind of falling behind, at least on the top level of robots, though they are producing some of our favorite budget models, such as the Roborock S5V. Check the links in the description, and be sure to subscribe to Vacuum Wars before you leave. Thanks for watching. All of the links in the description are updated regularly to reflect our current favorite vacuums in multiple categories. You'll also find links to the Vacuum Wars website in the description, where we have more detailed lists of our favorite products, like our new Top 20 Robot Vacuums list, which is updated weekly.